What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, talking today about the mystery of the black PlayStation 5, because over the course of this weekend, there was a console that randomly showed up, it had a bunch of pre-orders that instantly sold out, and now everything has vanished. The console maker's website has completely shut down, the Twitter accounts have been deleted, it seems like this may have just completely vanished, and people are starting to say, was this a scam? I don't think it was, but the actual facts of this are a bit convoluted. So I want to try and break this story down and say what the heck happened and how can we avoid this in the future. Before we even get into it though, I want to take a look at a story that's from a couple weeks ago because I actually think this is relevant. Right now, there are companies that are trying to make these faceplates, custom faceplates, the same way that you would actually see back in the day where people would make skins and things for an Xbox 360 or a GameCube. These are very, very simplistic. Actually popping the side panels of your PlayStation 5 off, it's super easy and it's in fact intended. Like Sony themselves has said, yeah, if you ever want to try and get inside your PlayStation 5, opening it up is incredibly easy. So, of course, companies like these people right here are called Customize My Plates. They had their name shut down because a lot of these people are trying to make these faceplates and Sony is threatening to sue them. Now here's the thing. I believe that this is going to lead to a problem. There is always a gray market to customization of a company coming in and producing special customized consoles and stuff like that. There's always a little bit of a legal gray area as to what is allowed, what isn't allowed, but Sony is trying to crush all of it. Now, I'm somebody that likes custom consoles. I do it all the time. Stuff like my custom Game Boy Micro that's got like a Zelda Triforce. A lot of my Game Boy Advances have different like Hello Kitty stickers on them and stuff. And I love that. I think it's cool to actually tinker with and customize your systems and truly make them your own because we pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for it. Well, somebody decided to take that one step further, and that's the story of today, which is this. There was these people trying to make the custom black PlayStation 5s. Now, on Friday, their name was Super 5, spelled like this, all nice and cool and sleek. Well, January 8th, they started to open up pre-orders. They sold 300 in a couple minutes. But here is where I think the controversy really begins. Each of the consoles cost $650 or $750 for the discless or disc-based versions, which means that buying this console, which I'll fully admit that this thing looks freaking fantastic. I honestly think that black on black on black looks so freaking good. This means that you are paying a $250 markup because remember, it just said $650 or $750 for a console that originally cost either $400 or $500, which means you're paying $250 for each console to get this fancy coat of paint. Now, I think that this is part of where the outrage began because I like this. I think it's cool to customize systems. That is a hell of a freaking markup. But after they did that initial run, they immediately sold out. Like minutes, they sold every single pre-order. Suddenly they go silent, and a couple hours later they released this statement saying that they're trying to dig through the deluge of orders, and they're trying to give some people some refunds and stuff. And they said, oh, we're just so embarrassed by this launch situation. But now they just decided to say, screw it, they're refunding everybody, they're deleting the website, they're completely just vanishing off the internet, everybody got their money back because they started getting a bunch of threats. Now, obviously, that's the dumbest thing ever. You should not be threatening somebody just because they're making an expensive freaking third-party console thing. But additionally, this does just kind of highlight the fact that this is the problem with Sony trying to push this stuff into the darkness. The fact that people are trying to make customized plates and stuff, it becomes the Wild West. Anything could be a markup, anything could be a scalp. I honestly think that part of the reason this is so expensive as well is just because PlayStation 5s are still so rare. I think these people realize that they could kind of get away with a huge markup because where else are you going to go? There is no other competition for a product that looks and plays like this. I think a good move for Sony right now would be completely just opening up the gates a little bit. I don't know if you know this, but one of the things that happens with controllers and stuff a lot is that initially nobody's allowed to make consoles except for the freaking publishers and studios and stuff, right? So originally, the only people that are allowed to make Nintendo controllers is Nintendo. But over time, they initially start allowing other people to do it. Third-party companies are allowed to make Nintendo Switch controllers or something, which means that really good, really top-notch, incredibly competitive products stay cheap because there is no black market. This is just something you can buy, and it's a completely valid legal option, just like this thing is. But sometimes these companies, they try and safeguard their products, they try and put them up on a pedestal, which ends up creating this seedy, dark area. Now, I want to look at the statements. They basically said that everything's being canceled, everything's being refunded, they're totally just willing to pack their bags and disappear. But what makes me think about this is I honestly believe that this situation wasn't scammers. I don't think these guys are bad dudes. I think that this was probably 5 college students with an idea. This is probably somebody that had a 3D printer, his friend's a good computer programmer so they could make the website, somebody managed to kind of establish a good way to get consoles very efficiently. I don't think they thought this was going to blow up. Honestly, this is kind of the funny side effect of the internet age. If you have a good idea and it explodes, sometimes it can be hard to keep up. I mean, I follow a lot of like Kickstarter stuff, and I think the most failed Kickstarters are typically when you have a tiny idea, you suddenly get $10 million, and then they suddenly realize, well, I don't actually have a $10 million idea, so they end up kind of collapsing under the weight of expectation. I don't think the whole PS2, PS5 thing was intended as a way to steal money. I don't think these guys were trying to get rich. I honestly think these dudes probably were just genuine bros who wanted to make a cool Sony product, and it completely exploded in their faces by accident. I sympathize with them. But more than anything, it makes me just kind of hope that this sets a precedent that Sony will someday start to open up the floodgates a little bit. Allow people to make faceplates. Allow people to customize their systems a little bit. The PlayStation 5 is still incredibly new. It's still incredibly rare. People are still just trying to get their hands on this thing, so it's going to be a while before we start to see Sony loosen their tight grip, but I am already ready for it. Now, I haven't talked about this anywhere else, but personally, I'm trying to get my hands on some custom faceplates. I am wanting to make my own customized version of a PlayStation 5 that's going to be Spider-Man themed. It's taken some work, but I've got the wheels in motion, so at some point you're going to see me make a system that Sony themselves might not be happy with, but I guess we're going to find out. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already, but do it the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. This is totally off topic, but I have a remote control light now, so when I film at night or I film during the day, I can affect the brightness and affect the color. This is so cool to me. I am way too entertained. Look at it. I'm Red Max. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.